How about episode 20? That's what I'm talking about. Did 20 of these now. It's not quite 20 weeks. I've had a couple of weeks off. Obviously, we raced at Rocky Mountain Race Week, and I was off for a couple other things. But guys, episode 20. That's awesome. That's super cool. Like, thank you for everyone that's tuned in and shared this stuff, and keep sharing it because it's super duper awesome. And guys, we're having a freaking blast with this. And if you didn't watch last week, the Chill Bros were on, and that was so much fun. And we've talked on the phone a couple of times since then. And dude, guys, that was so much fun. But real quick, Stevie's going to toss me a hat because I forgot that I didn't have a hat, and my hair is disheveled, and I apologize for that because I just got off of work, to be honest with you. But that said, here we go. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Redhat Scotty.
What's up?
Check it out. And I got the new background. So I got the red car in the background here. So that's going to be cool. We trying that out. But dude, thank you for coming on. That's cool. Drink. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm excited. This is going to be fun.
It's gonna be super cool, and like I said, dude, thank you so much for having like the equipment. I know you kind of updated your stuff, and we'll get into your YouTube channel and everything like that. But dude, you sound great. You look good. I think you're ready to, you're ready to be the next dude.
Yeah. I mean, if it happens, it happens. If not, I'm still going to have fun doing what I do. So,
No, exactly, and kind of get like a little peek into what you do and what kind of a day to day in your world, and it's cool. It's a really cool deal, and yeah, man. And like Nico is watching, and he says Red Hat Scotty is my dude.
yeah, Nico, what up, buddy?
Hey, man. But yeah, so real quick, I've been diving into a lot of history with a lot of drag and drive type racers and stuff. And before we get into drag and drive, and like we were talking behind the scenes here, um, dude, why are you a hot rodder? What got you into this? Who brought you into this? And more specifically, like as you kind of get into it, why in the hell Fox bodies?
That's such a multi-part deal. The car thing was my dad, the dude.
The dude
A lot of people know who the dude is. If you see me, you see him. Uh, yeah, there's the guy right there.
riding shotgun right there. Sid is his name, but everyone just calls him the
Yeah,
dude.
right. So he kind of got me into cars. Um, I actually street rodding is our background. He
Okay.
has a 1946 Ford sedan, and when I was a little kid, we used to take it everywhere. I mean, we've been to Minnesota quite a few times. We took it down to. We've been to Oklahoma, and I mean, we've just been all over the Midwest. Any street rod show you can think of in the Midwest, we went to.
And was it a street car or were you guys towing it?
A streetcar.
That's what I'm
We
talking
actually
about.
didn't even own a trailer until 2017.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. So you're
And
bebopping around, you're in this hot rod, you're with the dude, and you're kind of soaking up that culture. And that's a different culture, but it's still a very cool culture in this world.
yeah, right. And so doing that when I was young, I learned a lot of different things about cars, how they worked, what things were. I mean, a lot of times I know a lot of the years of the older vehicles where a lot of people our age really don't. I know a lot of the minor differences in some of the variants of the years,
Yeah, so
and I
like a
learned a lot of that.
39 versus a 40 and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The tail light differences, grill differences, things like that. And then also Tri 5 Chevys, which is one of the easier ones. The first gen Camaros, things like that. Like I learned a lot of that from a very young age,
Totally.
and still somehow retain some of that knowledge.
With everything
But
else
so
going on, you were able to keep that part.
yeah, yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah, dude. Hell
So
yeah.
then fast forward, we got a little bit older. I was always into cars, and then it's super hard to pin down exactly how old I was, but the Fox body part of this, where all the Fox body stuff comes into play. We were over at my cousin's house, and he had I believe it was a '69 Chevelle,
Cool.
uh, and his buddy had a green over silver Mustang GT. And we ran up to the gas station, get sodas or pizza or something, and they were like, "Hey, come on." And so I remember, being a younger kid, seeing that 5-liter emblem, and it caught my eye, and we went for a ride in it, and he's banging gears in it, and I was just like, "Oh, this is the coolest thing ever."
And I got to tell
And
you, that
so
same car, that green over silver GT, like 87, 88 Mustang, I was in taekwondo as a kid, and one of the kids in class, his mom drove that same car, and I have that memory burned into my mind, and I honestly didn't even think about it until you just said a green over silver GT Fox Mustang, and I was like, oh shit, I have that
yeah,
same car burned into my memory. That is awesome.
dude, yeah, and so that's what it was literally like the emblem was the first thing I saw, it just glistened at me and caught my attention. I'm like, "Oh man, what is this?" And then you ride in one, and I mean, now they're, it made 225 horsepower. But at
Right.
the time, I'm like, 10 years old or whatever, smacking gears in the back seat, hanging on. I'm like, "Oh, this is the coolest thing in the world."
Totally.
And
Totally.
then actually come to find out, I found this out over the summer. That guy now lives 4 houses down from me.
Dude.
So it
What
was
a
crazy.
small
We got to
world.
talking. Yeah, we got to talking one day, and come to find out, and he showed me pictures. I mean, he obviously got rid of the car now, but I'm like, dude, that's it. That's the car.
Hell yeah. That is cool. Drink. What are you sipping on there, by the way?
Miller Lite.
Hmm. In the QPS glass, nonetheless.
Yeah, yeah. Shameless plug on old Travis Wise. Revved up laser did that for me.
Nice, and he's doing a lot of your hats and stuff too, and we'll get into the YouTube stuff and all that stuff. But Travis Wise, one of the rowdy radial racers, and I like to tell him, yeah. And there's a story behind that. We were driving on the drive time. The dog's going to bark. Apparently, we were driving on the route, and I pulled up next to him, and he had just run his first. I think it was a. I think it was his first five. It was like a
Yeah.
597 or something like that. And I screamed out the window, and I had my GoPro with me. And I said, "You got a 5-second street truck?" And he's like, "Yeah." So I've got it on video, and it's fantastic. But anyway, Travis Wise is the jam. What's the name of his
Yeah.
company?
I believe it's revved up.
I think that's
Eh,
right. Revved Up Lasers or something like that.
yeah. If I'm wrong, Travis will make fun of me for it later. So,
But he's
um,
doing all sorts of cool merch and helping out with a lot of the race week type dudes, and obviously getting QPS all set up, and it's good stuff.
yeah, he does really, really good work. Really, really easy to work with,
Nice,
and just super nice stuff.
nice,
Can't say enough nice things about what he does.
hell yeah. But yeah, so you see this Fox body, this dude that lives down the street from you now has this Fox body, and you're like, okay, I mean that's I gotta have a Fox body.
Yeah, yeah. And so when I turned 16, though, we looked and looked and looked for a Fox body, and at the time, I didn't want to stick shift because I didn't want to learn how to drive it. So after searching forever, we couldn't find an AOD car basically,
Right.
and I ended up with a 1989 Ford Probe.
Okay.
I had that guy for about 2 weeks, and then somebody ran into it and totaled it.
Okay.
Then after that, I got a, let's see, that car was a 1990 notchback 2.3 automatic.
Nice. Slow pig.
Yeah, yeah,
But
I could run faster than it would move.
right. But whatever. You got a Fox body. Like there you
Yeah,
go. And what year are we in roughly when this is going down?
I would have been 16, so probably 2001,
Okay.
2000, yeah, about 2000, 2001-ish.
Totally. So this is the height of hot rodding 5-liter Mustangs. I mean,
Yeah.
98, 99, 2000 kind of era, you know, just as the kind of LS1s start coming in, but everyone's got their, you know, like GT40 headed Fox Mustang that, typically they either have a Vortec or they're on nitrous, and
Yeah.
they're, but that was it. Like that was the jam back then. So, now you've got your plate and you can do whatever you want. And yeah, the aftermarket's totally like feeding into the Fox market at the time. So you have the perfect car at the perfect time.
So what's funny about that car is I actually didn't swap it to a 5 liter till way later in life.
Okay.
And so I drove that car, and then just somehow I ended up coming across a 1986 GT four-eyed car, which that's my love of four-eyed was from that car.
Okay.
We paid like $500 for it, and me and the dude just beat the snot out of that car.
Awesome.
It was great. We had a lot of fun with it. We put a couple different motors in it, different trannies, mainly because we broke stuff. But
Happens.
yeah,
Happens.
it does. And actually, funny, we ended up putting a Paxton supercharger on that car
Hmm.
at some point.
Yeah, that was the jam, man. A
It
Vortec or
was
a
a lot of fun.
Paxton, for sure.
And mine, that was, I had the old Navi 1000. It was a single belt setup.
Okay.
It wasn't the dual belt like your Vortex or your Pro Chargers at the time. So I ended up finding a pulley off of a like a 3/8 Thunderbird, and I had the local machine shop re-drill it to fit the 302,
Right.
and I was spinning the piss out of that thing.
Hell yes. Hell yeah. So where so you're hot rodding Fox bodies and you're getting yourself through high school and stuff, and yeah, you got probably a pretty sweet Fox body in high school. Like then you're pretty badass in 2002.
Yeah, so that's gonna be the worst part if we try to go down all the cars that I've owned,
No, we don't have to do
because I
that.
I'm trying to remember the timeline because in high school I had 3 Foxes at one time, and then I ended up wrecking one, a stupid, childish, high school kid kinda thing,
Happens.
and then that'll kinda come into when I got the black car,
And
and
is
so
that this same car?
that's that car. I have owned that car since May of 2002.
Nice. Hell yeah.
And so when I got the black car is really when the racing stuff really got big for me. We had a local heads up series, index stuff that we ran, and that's really when the speed bug really bit in.
Totally. Totally. So what index was it in?
I ran that car in it was like a 1230 class. And then, well, I mean, prior to that, we had like some weird offset numbers back then. I was trying to remember. I basically ran all of them from the like 1380 class down to the 1230 class
Sweet.
back when we were running that series.
Nice. Nice. And you're still street driving stuff because you don't have a trailer and stuff. So you're street driving this
Yeah,
car around and doing, doing it to it out there at the racetrack.
yeah. So I would drive that car everywhere, to school, to work, to the racetrack, race it, come home. And then, yes, that was actually what that was. My mom, Crack. Hi, Crack. Uh, at the time, I had 4 cars. The one was wrecked, and I still had the other 3 in the driveway, and everybody knew who I was and where our house was because of all the damn Mustangs I owned.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's
I
okay.
still
Whatever.
I still catch hell for that now.
um,
But
so you're doing some index stuff, you're having fun with that, and then when do you get the idea of like, wait a second, I should probably bring something on one of these drag and drive things?
so actually, when all that started, I was actually at day 1 of the very first drag week in Kansas City.
Awesome.
So I was working at Napa Auto Parts at the time, and that Monday that all that went down, I had Monday off because I had to work Saturday.
Okay.
So ended up going down there and really had no idea what the hell it was. I like had kind of had an idea, but I really didn't know. So
Right.
seeing all those and then realizing how far they're driving, I was like, "Well, like, this is kind of cool."
Right. This is awesome. And like even then, like they were running like eights, and it was still like, holy shit, that's an 8 second car. They're driving on the
Yeah,
street, and now they're sixes.
yeah. Oh, it was unheard of. Um, so I saw that. And then about that same time in the Mustang world, between like the NMRA and the old World Ford Challenge in St. Louis and stuff, and I think the NMC, yeah, they had one too. They had the True Street classes
Okay.
where you would go leave the track, drive like 30 miles, and then come back.
Right.
Well, I'm like, hell, I do that all the time. So we kind of got into that, and I ran a couple of the True Street classes with that black car.
Okay.
Um, and so, and really going back like the street rod deal, we used to drive the dude's car everywhere. So I'm like, well, this ain't any different.
Right.
We're driving it. I mean, we've taken that car to uh, St. Paul, Minneapolis, a bunch of different times.
Right. And
But I'm
it's
like, oh,
fuel injected and junk, and like
no.
it
Back
was
then,
not.
it had a 307 with a carburetor on it,
Oh, like his
and like a
did, but
yeah.
the
Mine
Mustang.
mine was still injected. Yeah,
Yeah. So you're like, we drive around on that carbureted junk. We can take my fuel injected junk for
yeah.
sure.
I'm like, if I can't drive this thing 30 miles and make 3 passes, like, what's the point of owning it?
Right. Right.
And so that really, like, snowballed, um, wanting to get into that. Now, I was way late actually doing one. Life happened, jobs, and,
Yeah, it is what it is.
you can't build a car. Ain't
Yep.
got no money.
Right. Right. And you're raising kids, and you're doing
Yeah,
your stuff.
yeah, basically. And then I got into Harleys for a little while.
And this is
So
like about right here.
oh man, that I couldn't even tell you my ears were still gauged then. Ooh, I don't even know when that was, to tell you the truth.
It's good. It's
Yeah,
super
look at this
good.
shirt, like, what the hell is I wearing?
I have no idea, but I love it. I mean, you've got a button down shirt, and then you've got a I support performance.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
like
it
it.
says, "I support single moms."
Oh, is that what it says?
Yeah,
Perfect. Perfect.
yep, funny story, my sister actually bought me that shirt.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Perfect. Look at that youngster.
yeah,
It's awesome. I got. I mean, while we're just doing that, like, I'm just gonna. I mean, we gotta. I mean, come on, man.
yeah. That was, long-haired Scotty.
Yep, with skull and crossbones. You know,
Yeah,
socks going on, and getting married.
yeah, yeah, that was 10 years ago.
Giddy up.
So,
What a guy.
mm,
Oh
yeah.
man. So yeah, when did you make your first move into drag and drive?
So, after all the True Street stuff that we were doing and the local index stuff, in 2014, Drag Week came and started in Tulsa. So me and the dude were talking, and we've wanted to do it for a couple years at this point. Couldn't really figure out how to make it happen, but they were coming to Tulsa, so we're like, let's go down there. I don't work the next day or 2 days after I'd gotten off work.
Right.
We flew, just cannonballed in his little Focus down to Tulsa to hang out, and it just blew me away. Like, all the cars, just how friendly people were. Um, I was down there like in Larson's pit and stuff.
Yeah.
And even Joe Barry, looking at those cars. I remember like looking at Joe's car as he's standing there, and like he got out of my way,
Right. He's like,
and I'm like, whoa. Yeah, he's like, get in there, man, check it out. And I'm like, whoa, man, like you're working right now. I'm just here hanging out.
right.
And I'll never forget that, honestly. You know, and that's really, really like one of the coolest things going into this. If you have a bad experience, leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So one of the first times I go to one of these events to hang out, And that's how cool somebody with a caliber car like that is.
Right, totally. They're like, dude, hold it, check it out. Check this out. This is a cool thing that no one ever sees. Like, look at this little
Yeah,
widget, and you're just like some dude like
yeah,
standing in his way, and
yeah.
he's just totally awesome.
Yeah, and it blew me away, and it was super cool. And so at Drag Week 2014, we hang out, and awesome things like that happen. Watch a bunch of racing. I had a couple friends that were running a car, and it was the first time they'd done it, and so we're like, oh, we'll just kind of like trail behind or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just all hell broke loose for them with silly problems. 5-gallon fuel cell in the back,
Oh no.
literally stopping like every 45 minutes so they can fill up. There was a couple times the car just died in the middle of the road, and it was like 2 in the morning, so we just stopped there and put gas in it. And I can't remember how long it took to get from Tulsa to Topeka, but the sun was up by the time we got to Topeka.
Oh man.
And so, once again, that was actually pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it,
Yeah.
it actually sucked. It was terrible. But me and the dude feel like that, well, hell, we actually just got a crash course on what not to do.
Totally. Yeah. Don't
And
put a
it
5-gallon fuel cell in it.
and it really paid off for us, seeing all these little different things, your cooling system, your fuel system, things like that. And so we all kind of took mental notes, after we slept for 48 hours after we got back.
Right. Right. And regained your like sanity
Yeah. Well, I never actually got that back because I'm still doing these.
because here
So
you are, right, doing everyone you can come across. But
yeah.
and 2014 was my first one, and we just jumped in with 2 feet. We were like, hey, I actually signed up. I was at the racetrack and had my phone, and I made a pass and got back to the pit, and I was like, oh shit, sign up is like now. And I was like, and I got in, and that was like the first one that sold out like super quick. It was like 8 or 10
Yeah.
minutes or something like that, and it was sold out. And I just happened to get on while I was at Bandamere, going, "Oh shit, I got in! Awesome!"
Oh, lucky dog.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, "Well, I guess we're going on race week, and like, who wants to come with me?" And Brad's like, "Hell yeah, I'm in. Let's go!" And we had no idea, dude. Like, no idea. Just showed up there. Like, I've read about this in the magazine, and it's pretty neat. And I kind of want to meet like some of these dudes with these like brutal cars, like Joe Barry and
Yeah.
Larry Larson, showing up, and that was his first year with the truck, and
Yeah.
that thing was freaking wild, man. And
Oh, dude.
yeah, so yeah, 14 was my way into this too, and I get it because by the end of the tech day, well, I hadn't even made a pass. I was hooked for life, just hanging out in the tech line, and it was a long tech line, but like I hung out with Greg Wagzilla, and he had
Yeah.
he had the wagon, and um, I think Steve was his co-pilot, I think, and we had a freaking blast, man. We were going to town, and then we were right next to the Grassroots Motorsports, the challenge car, and that was the car they built for like $2014 or $13, and they had competed in all these autocross stuff, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna bring this thing out," and it had like little like fog lights for headlights, and we're like, "What in the? You guys are screwed, man." So
Yeah.
but no, 2014 was the jam, dude, and yeah, it was cool that you guys got that kinda insight and, yeah, like you said, what not to do is this.
Yeah. Yeah. So we took all that, and when after that we got back home, and at this time I had bought the rickety rocket, and it had a small block Ford with a turbo on it. I never got to make a pass in it. It just I cobbled a bunch of crap together like I've been known to do. And
It happens.
yeah. So after that I kind of got burnt out on Fords, like the motors with the black car.
Okay.
And so if we kind of take a short step back, I had a 347 stroker in the car for a while. It would run like 1140s. And then I wanted to go back to a turbo setup. So I had built a 398-inch Windsor.
Okay.
and it literally broke me trying to build this motor. And I kind of burnt myself out. I wasn't really having fun, and so that's kind of when that car got parked. So then we come back to the rickety rocket and the Ford stuff, and I'm like I'm kind of over these motors. LSs are cheap. I want to try it.
Totally.
And so I bought one. I bought I think they're called the LR4, the aluminum
Okay.
5.3 with the dish pistons and then the super common heads.
Yep.
And so we put that in the rickety rocket with the stock power glide, stock converter, LS intake manifold, and some stock like truck exhaust. It had a 355 gear in it, and away we went on drag
Nice.
week 2015.
Hell yeah.
When we left town, that car had like 3 miles on it.
As most first timers do. It's just here we go. We're gonna try it out.
Yeah. And so we drove from Blue Springs, Missouri to St. Louis. And it's roughly about 4 hours, give or take a little bit.
Okay.
And so there's actually a funny story about that too. I had all the vacation to take off from work for the week except for 1 hour.
Okay.
So I literally got up at 4 in the morning after we finished working on the car till like 1 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
went into work for 1 hour, came home, got in the car, and I drove with the dude all the way to St. Louis.
Hell yeah.
And
And you still
there's
don't
a
have a truck and trailer. You're driving the car.
right. We made a hitch. We had a U-Haul the first year behind us. But yeah, we drove it.
Hell yeah.
And there's a funny picture somewhere in my album where I did like the selfie and I'm like dead, eyes sunken, just, about to die. And the dude has this big, huge grin. Like he's just loving every bit of this. And that picture just cracks me up every time I see it.
It's awesome. I'll have to. I'll try to dig through here and see if I can find it
Yeah.
while we're rapping.
And then, so we make it to St. Louis, go through tech, everything's good. And I get the windshield banner, and that literally was the coolest thing.
Yeah,
Once you get that, it,
dude.
kind of moment.
Now it's real. Like here we are.
Yeah. And so, we run the whole deal and we really didn't have any issues, which was crazy. First time out, 3 miles on the car. I think one of my muffler hangers came undone and I fixed it with some old welding wire that I threw in a bag.
Okay.
We ran out of gas like 3 times. But it actually, if you guys know me at all, I'm known to run out of gas on drag and drives.
That's kind of your thing.
Yeah, I don't have a gas gauge.
I
The
mean, you can
dude,
fix.
the dude's gotten really, really good at figuring out mileage, so we don't do it as often.
Good.
But every once in a while, we kind of have one of those. Oh, we kind of forgot that other turn that we had to take back there, kind of moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Oh man, I'm looking for this and I can't find it, but I'm like finding other stuff that like I don't think this is it. Hold on.
Oh,
Here,
there's so much stuff going on in there.
there's like that one.
Yeah, so that was the first time I went in the tens
Yeah,
with the Rickety Rocket.
totally.
And that story was awesome too. So if you guys have ever been to the St. Louis track, you end up coming right back in front of the stands up the return road. And I make a pass, and the car had been a string of 1120s, 1130s, and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm coming back up, and I've got the window down, helmet off, and these people are like clapping, and I'm like, "Oh shit! Did something fall off?
Yeah.
Like
What's
what
up,
happened?"
man? What's going on?
And so as soon as right before I get to the ticket check, the dude's leaned over the fence and he's going 10, 10, and I'm like, "What? Wait, what am I stopping for? Like why? What is this?
Yeah. Why do I? Yeah. Why are you telling me to stop? What's happening?
And I get the slip, and I'm like, "Oh shit! Like this thing went in the tens," and like it just blew my mind because at the time, like that car was never meant to go as fast as it has.
Yeah.
When I put it together, it was never supposed to go that fast.
Totally.
So the fact that we did it just
It
blew me away.
super awesome. I just found this. This is Drag Week 2014, you said.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's that one. So now I just need to find 15. I'm back as far as that. But that's I mean, the dude doesn't look like he's changed it. He's not aged a minute. He's like the same
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So yeah, 15. Oh, here you are. Here's the U-Haul trailer. Let's just pull these up. Bam.
Yeah. So that was at Indy. Well, I guess it says right there. Yeah, Indy.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah.
The
So you
pony
back then that
wheels.
thing ran. Yeah. So that was the only time that we left the ponies on the front because we thought we were gonna be slick and not
Right.
change them so we could get out faster.
Right.
And then I'm pretty sure that was like the slowest pass of the week because of it. But
Perfect. Yeah, of course. But yeah, there's the
yeah,
U-Haul trailer and staying at the finest, the Clarion Inn.
yeah. We got there at like 3 in the morning.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Bam, there it is. There's the windshield banner.
Yep.
And yeah, like I said, like that's when you know you made it. You got there. Well, this is you leaving at 6 a.m.
Yeah. Right after I got off work.
Jeez. Awesome. That's awesome. Good times.
Yeah.
Um, so you get through drag week 15. You make it, no problem. Drove it there, drove it home.
Yep. Yeah.
Hell
It
yeah.
was super flawless. And once again, every time you do one of these things, you learn something. So once again, we wrote down in the notebook what worked, what didn't work, what we need to work on, whatever.
Totally.
So then at that point, we decided to kind of change things up. I swapped the cam into it, put nitrous on it, put the cage in it, and at that time it was running like 1150s, 1160s,
Okay.
and we decided to do 2016 drag week.
Okay. So that was Ohio, I think, right?
Yes, yes, Ohio.
Yeah.
Um,
I towed my bullshit out all the way from Colorado. It was like I don't even know, dude. 15 hours and two time zones, so it was like 18 hours, and then
yeah,
blew it up the second day like a dickhead.
yeah. So I was the dickhead that blew mine up driving it there.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So at that time, I had the trans cooler in the back where the fuel tank should be, but I have a fuel cell in this car.
Right.
We made it just outside St. Louis, and the car had been running great. Everything was fine. And the dude was like, man, like the floorboard's kind of hot. And we didn't really think anything about it at the time.
Right.
Well, then all of a sudden, the tranny starts slipping and it's not moving. So we're like, oh shit. So we limped it backwards to an O'Reilly's. I dropped the pan, and it is just a complete and utter failure.
Just junk.
So I had a friend of mine, Stephen Miller. He and my mom took the dude's truck, followed Stephen all the way to Warrenton, Missouri to pick us up,
Mhm.
trailered my car back. Dude drove his truck with the U-Haul back. And then, the dude was retired at this point too, so he didn't have a job.
Right.
I had the week off already, so we were like, fuck it. And we hopped in the Focus and cannonballed all
Nice.
the way to Ohio. And I
Hell
mean,
yeah.
we didn't sleep from the whole deal at right outside St. Louis the whole way back. Piled in the car and took off. I mean, there was a couple times, I think we did it 2 or 3 times, but we just Chinese fire drilled on the side of the freeway and
Totally.
then kept rolling.
That's awesome.
And we made it. We made it to registration, and I was like, "Hey, I'm here." They're like, "Cool," and they're getting ready to hand me all my goodies. I'm like, "But I broke."
Yeah.
Which they were cool. I still got my shirt and the little goodie bag and whatever else.
Yeah, totally. I think they had even sunscreen that year, so you got some
Yeah,
sunscreen out of the deal.
yeah. So we ended up following in the Focus, and there's a picture of where we put my banner on the Focus.
Oh, okay. Nice. Hell
So we
yeah.
just followed along. We
Nice.
we stayed true to the route. They gave us a route every day. I just went
Nice.
over there and was like, "Hey, we're doing this," and we did the route. We didn't skip any of it.
Oh, here it is. Bam. With the handicap sticker and everything
Yep.
to boot. That is
Yep.
awesome. Hell yeah.
So technically, I didn't start it, but we were there. We did it.
You did it, and you went through the route, and you did the whole thing, and you didn't take a racer spot, and you still did it and had fun.
Oh, we had a blast. It was so
Hell
much
yeah.
fun. And that let's see, that was the year that I started. So I on 15 I had the little Ariel doll that was McKenna's, and we were taking pictures at the checkpoints and everything with it because she
Mhm.
wanted to go, but at the time she was really little.
Okay.
She was like 3. So that was like my way of kind of letting her into part of this too. I could come back and show her the pictures. 16 is what started taking the pictures with other racers.
Okay.
And we had the pink dinosaur Callie that year.
Okay, yeah, so here's the dude.
Yeah, so that's when we were in Warrenton and we broke.
Okay. Alright. So but that yeah, so that's what started the stuffed animal characters along the way.
Yeah, and
Oh, yeah,
the
like,
very
here's Kyle with it.
yep, yep.
Hell
The
yeah.
very first person to do that was Blake Hughes.
Okay,
We were at one of the checkpoints, and I was like, "Hey,
here it is.
Blake, I got a." Yeah, there's Krusty, and I asked Blake. I was like, "Hey, man, like, kind of weird, but will you take a picture with my kid's dinosaur?" And he gave me this weird look. I'm like, "Man, she's 3. She, couldn't come." And he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "For sure." And he grabbed it out of my hand. He's like, "Where do you want me?"
Oh,
And so he's
here's
right in front
Blake.
of his trailer.
There he is right there.
Yeah. So Blake Hughes is the first person with the stuffed animal picture.
Hell yeah. Yep, that is freaking great. How cool is that? And then, yeah, you've got a ton of people with it. Like, I mean, there's you,
Yep.
but Blake, the
John
Ferones,
Ferrone.
yep, Kyle, Krusty, rest in peace.
Right.
Jared, right?
So that's Jay.
The
Mayer.
J, got it.
Yeah, but Jared's car.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And the Champagne Express with the gigantic hood scoop, by the way,
Yep.
as you can see plainly right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Pawnee Carlo, if you don't know. And Alex Taylor when she's like 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah, that's cool. That's super cool, man. I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And then
So we
every
still
year
try
after
to do
that, you
that.
always brought a stuffy.
Yeah. I've done the stuffy thing since 2015.
Sweet. That is cool. Hell yeah, dude. And then since 16, you started taking pictures with other people.
Yeah. 16 was the first year since we didn't have the car. I was like, well, what the hell am I going to do now? Like I
Right.
don't have my car for all these photos. So I started, and she knows a lot of the cars and people because she'll sit and watch a lot of stuff with me.
Totally. Totally.
So,
I'll have to give her a shout out at some point.
oh,
Can't
she'll love it.
wait.
She'll eat it up.
McKenna, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So my 2 kids, McKenna and Mavis. So later in the Dragon
Oh,
Drive stuff, I've taken some of Mavis's stuffed animals.
there's Mavis.
Yep.
She's helping you
There's
do some
Mavis.
springs
Yep. In the kitchen.
in the kitchen. That's parenting done right.
Yeah. She's my little gearhead. She wants to tear stuff up and try to fix it. I taught her. I've been trying to teach her how to weld. We haven't done it lately,
Okay.
but she really wants to learn how to weld.
Yeah, totally. That's so cool. Like when they get it and they're like, I want to be involved in this, and not only just kids but girls at the same
Yeah.
time because that's super duper cool. And like as a girl dad, I'm sure like you really dig on empowering the chicks to do what they do, and like the picture with Alex Taylor. I mean, you
Yeah.
know,
And that's what I've told him. And I still tell him all the time. I'm like, whatever you want to do, just because it's a boys thing or whatever, like you can do it. You can
Yeah,
be better. You can beat the boys if
yeah,
you want to.
go show up and do it, and you'll
Yeah.
find out that we're a bunch of idiots. I mean, we don't know what the
Yeah.
hell we're doing. You can totally beat
Yeah.
us on everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell them all the time. I'm like, if you want to go out and do that, do it.
Hell
Like
yeah,
McKenna, she's more of like the driver. She doesn't really want to work on it. She just wants to drive it.
totally.
She's
So
wanted to be a
she's
she's
like
wanted to
the
be a monster
prima
truck
donna.
driver. Kinda. But she's wanted to be a monster truck driver since she was in kindergarten.
Totally, and you guys go to a bunch of monster truck shows. That leads me to I've got a picture of you in Bigfoot, and I remember when you posted this because you were like, "This is like a lifelong dream of mine,"
Yeah.
and you do like you put your money where your mouth is on that. Like you don't just like show up occasionally to the monster truck stuff. You dig on the monster truck stuff like a lot.
I am a huge monster truck nerd. Like me and the dude have traveled hours to go look at, rotten, rusted out monster trucks just because that was like my childhood and all these
Totally
old trucks. It but yeah, I'm 39 years old and I bet I have been to probably 45 different monster truck shows.
nice. And this is the first time that you sat in Bigfoot, right?
The first time in Bigfoot, yes.
You've been in other ones, but that was your first time in Bigfoot.
Yeah, I've been in 2 other trucks, kind of the same deal where I was able to sit in it, take some pictures, and whatever else, but that was the first time in Bigfoot,
Totally. And I mean,
which is that's
Bigfoot.
been my
I mean, that's
my all-time favorite truck.
it's John Force, it's Dale Earnhardt, it's Bigfoot. I mean,
Yeah,
come on. I
it
mean,
was yeah, I
it,
I don't know how I think the only way I could top that is if I actually drive a truck,
right.
and, it was funny, I was sitting up in the truck, and I was talking to uh, he's a driver for them, but he wasn't driving that event. And I just started pointing stuff out what it was. And he was kind of like, oh shit,
Didn't
this dude might drive
yeah.
off in this.
Why don't you step down real quick, sir?
Yeah. I was messing with him. I was like, oh man, I was like, did you leave the keys in here? And he's like, no, they're in my pocket. I'm like,
There ain't no
he's like,
keys. And I know there ain't no keys.
yeah. Oh, the coolest part of that. So when I was sitting up there in that particular truck, they have a backup camera in it. And I'd asked him about it, whatever else. And he's like, hey man, he's like, you know where the power button is on this thing? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, why don't you go ahead and hit that? And I'm like, what? Like
Oh,
uh
okay.
so I was actually able to turn on the power to the whole truck. Now, granted, I didn't start it,
Right.
but I mean, I turned the power on a Bigfoot.
Totally. And you got to see through its backup camera.
Yeah, it was so cool. And I don't know, that was probably one of the coolest things I've ever done. What motorsports related was sitting in Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, like, I mean, Bigfoot, for Christ's sake. And I mean, a very close second grave digger, but Bigfoot,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my
I
professional
was always
opinion.
the Bigfoot guy. The dude, he's the gravedigger guy because of the Chevy panel. But
Yeah. Yeah.
you
It
know,
was always just Dennis Anderson for me. I mean,
yeah, that dude's probably the greatest driver in monster truck history.
for sure. I mean,
And
without a doubt.
that's hard to say though because I'm a huge Jim Cramer fan with Bigfoot.
Okay. Okay.
But they back when Bigfoot was doing all that stuff, they were more in racing. So I'd say Jim was the better racer, where Dennis was obviously the freestyle master.
Totally. That
So
100% agreed. You and me, like this.
yeah,
Um, so getting back into as we take
reel it
these.
in.
Yep. Yep. Um, so drag week 16. When you're getting pretty close to doing race week now.
So we did drag week 17 as well.
Okay.
Now this was when let's see, I acquired a 6 liter and we swapped that in. And at the time, I was going to build a nitrous car,
Okay.
but they had that nitrous plant explosion where you couldn't get nitrous. So the dude talked me into doing another turbo setup on this 6-liter LS.
Okay.
And we built the car at a friend of mine's shop. We would go there after they closed. It was a transmission shop, Nicholas Performance Transmission. I got to thank Justin for allowing us to do that. He would leave me the key, and me and the dude would go there after the shop closed and work on the car all night.
That's awesome. How cool is that?
Yeah. So we got that thing all done. I built the most raggedy ass turbo kit known to man.
I
And
mean, but did it make boosty noises?
uh it was still on the car until I took the rickety rocket apart, and I took it apart right after sick week, the first sick week.
Okay. So yeah. Doing good.
Yeah, so it held up. I mean, it's not the prettiest thing, but it worked. I mean, it had been 10:09 at like 134 mile an hour.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So
Very respectable. And that's the
yeah,
same.
yeah, that was that same setup. Well, I mean, obviously we know that it ended up getting a 5.3 in it,
Right.
but that's that same ratty turbo kit in that car. That was at sick week. That was at Gainesville.
Yep.
That was that pass that went 10:09.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And so that was a 6-liter. Anything else done with that? And then what's the rest of the combo in the rocket up to
So
that sick week point?
uh in 2017, it had a 6-liter, a VS Racing 7783, the sloppy stage 2 cam,
Okay.
and a turbo 400.
Totally. Nice.
And it was on a Holly HP at that time. And I think the fastest it went with the 6-liter was 10, like 35.
Okay.
And I was having other people tune the car, and want to keep it safe for what we're doing with it. I'd never messed with shock settings. I never messed with like leaving really hard. I
Right.
just got it where it would leave consistent every time. It would do like 560 foots, but it was very repeatable.
Okay.
So then we did drag week 17, and believe it or not, that one was also flawless.
Hell
I
yeah.
think I almost lost the exhaust at one point off the downpipe, and like some real minor stuff. I ran out of gas like 9 times.
Perfect.
Uh, that's that'll be a repeatable story for every time I go out. But
Put a freaking fuel gauge in it.
yeah, I probably should, but
Yeah, whatever.
just don't.
Just don't.
But though, so with that on 2017, we ran out of gas, and we're rounding a corner, and these 2 guys stop in behind us, and they're like, "Oh, like is everything all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just dumb and I ran out of gas." They're like, "All right, cool. Well, we'll follow you to the gas station, as we're putting gas back in it."
Right.
Well, that was Troy Clearhout.
Okay, yeah.
And so that's when I actually met Troy, was Drag Week 2017,
Nice.
and still really good friends with him now.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
And then
That's
so
this community does that. Like it really does. Like you build these friendships on the side of the road in
yeah,
minutes.
yeah. And like we were cool the whole rest of the week. We'd run over to his pits, he'd come over to ours, we'd go back and forth. And like I said, we're still really good friends. I still talk to him fairly regularly. I need to, hit him up a few more times, but
Oh
we
yeah.
both have the kids and lives and stuff.
It is what it is. Yeah, exactly.
And then another great running out of fuel story from 2017. When you come back into Collinsville, right outside where the track is, that's like kind of the main place to stay for St. Louis.
Okay.
You come down the hill, and it kind of splits to like 3 different streets where all the hotels are. And as we're flying back into town, I'm looking at the dude like, "Hey, where we at on gas?" As he's been doing the mileage.
Right.
He's like, "Oh, we'll make it to the hotel." I'm like, "All right, cool. That's all I need to know."
Totally.
So we roll up, and there's people lined down the street. You're rolling up. It's the day before the last day.
Right.
And they're all cheering, clapping, and I look at him. I'm like, "Man, are we going down through here?" And he's like, "Yeah, just roll down through there." So we're doing the parade wave as we go by,
Totally. Yeah.
make it around the corner out of eyesight from everybody. We can see our hotel, run out of gas.
Perfect.
I look over at him, and all he does is go, "Well, we would have made it to the hotel if you went the other way."
The dude.
So he was right. We would have made it to the hotel, but I took a detour.
Yeah, because there was all the people and you wanted to do the
Yeah,
whatever, but you would have run out of gas in like a second in the morning anyway.
yeah,
So
yeah,
no big deal. I mean,
yeah.
whatever.
It was fine.
So you're 14 riding along, 15 showed up, right? And did well.
Yeah, 15 we finished.
Yep, 16 focus,
Didn't make it yet. Focus.
17 parade
Made
waves.
it. Yep.
Hell yeah. And you're still driving it to and fro.
So in 17's when I got the trailer.
Okay, all right.
So we did trailer it at 17,
Okay.
and then we've had the same trailer since then. So yeah,
Hell yeah. Nice.
yeah, I definitely make sure to trailer it too after the 16 fiasco.
It happens. It happens.
Then
Um and then where? Where are you going from there?
so after all that, we did some other racing type stuff. We don't have a track in Kansas City now, but we'd go out, hit some races. Uh, we had one at the Kansas Speedway,
Okay.
Operation Octane, and I think it was actually the weekend before that. We were up at US 36, small eighth mile deal. Went up there, and I took third place in a class. Well, it was kind of a hidden index class. They have everybody run, then they'd split you in like weird indexes.
Okay.
And I was in the top part of the index, so I ended up taking third place.
Cool.
Then right after that, we went down to Mocan for some testing, and we did something to the car. It was making some noise. Didn't know what was going on. Put it on the trailer. We actually stopped at a Walmart not too far from the track, and I started like taking parts of it apart to figure out what the hell
Yeah.
happened to it.
What in the hell? Yeah.
And we couldn't find anything. Get it back home, tear the heads off, check all the lifters, check all kinds of stuff. Cannot figure out what the hell this noise is. Well, we'd
Flex
already
plate?
registered. No, it wasn't.
Okay.
I thought it was. I did like the only thing I actually ever found was the little hub for the converter to the
Okay.
crank.
Right.
Uh, it was cracked.
Hmm.
So I swapped another one in, and everything should have been fine, but it was still making this weird noise.
Hmm.
We had already registered for this Operation Octane race at the Speedway, and we're like, well, we'll take it. We showed up with it. I had a ton of people come over to look at the car, and I'm like, what the hell is this noise? And no one could figure it out. Everybody's like, oh, it's just a lifter. Go make a pass down the speedway. You say you could do it and then park it. I'm like, well, hell yeah, I'm doing that. I
Yeah,
brought it
giddy
out
up.
here.
Let's go.
Yeah. So it completely shit the bed at the track at the Kansas Speedway.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that sucked. I don't know if you've ever been around like NASCAR people, like officials.
No.
Yeah, they're total dicks.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like there's a whole mess of stuff. But as the dude's pulling me off the track with the truck, he's like trying to pull me back on the racing surface.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a diaper on the car. Like I'm very safety conscious, so it had a diaper. It's not like it just spilled everywhere, but it would kind of dribble.
Totally.
So I'm like trying to yank the car back into the grass. I'm like, hey, dude, like
Right.
move over. And so we get around the gate, and he starts screaming at me, and I'm like, dude, like the thing's dripping, and you're trying to run me down the center of the racing surface.
Right.
And he's like, all right, Hoss, and unhooked the chain and drove off.
Ah!
And my trailer was clear on the other side of the pits from there. So I had to get like a couple buddies and stuff, and we pushed it all the way down there and loaded it on the trailer.
That's freaking great.
Uh,
The
and then,
dude.
oh God, it was so much fun.
Or something.
Yeah. No, it was the opposite of fun. But
Oh,
so
that's
that ended the
awesome.
life of my 6 liter. It kicked out a rod. We never found any of the piston.
Okay.
Found parts of the rod. Um, Somebody actually handed me a pile of it, and I still have it somewhere.
Right.
So that was the end of 17. I came across the run of the mill 5.3,
Yep.
put that in, and then in my infinite wisdom of owning like 9 freaking cars, I thought I was going to put the black car back together. Yeah. It's so I kind of started robbing like small parts off the rocket that I was going to put on the black car
Hmm.
and then like never did. So in 18, the first year I did Rocky Mountain, it was a 5.3 with the same 400, and I ended up putting a micro squirt in it.
Okay.
And so my thought process was, I'll kind of leave this car right there at that like 1090-ish, 11.0 range.
Totally.
I thought that would be like a good area to kind of play in. I don't know how y'all do it up there in the mountains. My dude, oh my god! And I didn't have like an actual boost controller. I had like the little
Yeah, the thing with the little pedal in it. Right.
yeah, the little
And you've got it
wheel of
like
death.
turned all the way up.
Oh my god! So I get up there and we make a pass, and the thing is like 12:30 or something. I'm like, what the hell? We were just in Oklahoma, and it went 11 teens or something. It's something stupid, and I'm like, Jesus. So I was talking to people, and they're like, yeah, just crank on that.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
like
you're
turned
good.
in. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm gonna send one of these pistons to the like NASA's gonna call me. And so and actually 18 was super cool too. So first time at Rocky Mountain, and no, let's see, 18 wasn't the mountains. Wasn't
Correct.
18 the first
18.
year we were down the hill in the
Right. Right. We
Midwest?
were in the we were in the Midwest. Exactly. Yeah. 19 we were
So
back.
yeah, see, I've done so many things; they all just blur together.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, so 18, uh, drag weekend went kind of the other direction out east. And so I was like, well, this Rocky Mountain thing is going to be in the Midwest. Like, let's try it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, short of the story is I haven't done a drag week since from doing 2018.
Right. Right.
And, that was a super great time. That was the first time we actually had issues, which was new to us.
Yeah. And you had like some issues.
Yeah. We overloaded the trailer. It bottomed out over every pebble in the road. At one point, my mom and my kids, my wife, they met us. We were close enough to home. We were in Harrisonville, Missouri, which is like about 40 minutes from my house.
Hmm.
And we just offloaded a bunch of stuff from the trailer into the car.
Right.
We're like, we can't carry on with all this junk. Like, there's a couple times we were just going to leave stuff on the side of the road. It was so bad.
Hell yeah.
And then
And
we,
that was this was Ninja Turtle
yeah,
year.
yep, that was Leonardo.
Absolutely.
And we
Oh,
were
did you bring all
cruising.
of them or did you just bring Leonardo? There he is
Just
again.
Leonardo.
But yeah, so you got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It's good
Yeah, that
stuff.
was McKenna's turtle. Oh
Hell
my
yeah.
god, it was cool. And Crack quit texting me.
Yeah. We're in the middle of stuff here.
Yeah, so that was Heartland Park, Topeka.
Yep.
And then oh yeah, so if you go to a couple past that,
Let's see. Your cobbled together turbo kit?
yeah, so where you see the wastegate sitting there.
Yeah.
So go before that even.
Let's do this one here.
Go
No.
right before that. I think yeah, go the other way.
Let's go the other way. There it is.
Yep. Right there. So my super awesome cobbled turbo kit decided to yeet a wastegate in the middle of the night.
That'll happen.
Yeah. So we tried to on the side of the road, I'm out there trying to find like any kind of aluminum can I could find, and we just like wire tied it in place so it just wasn't dumping exhaust everywhere.
Yeah,
And the
like you
next
do.
morning, yeah, I mean, I do that anyway, but
Right,
it's totally fine.
right. It's good. It's questionable.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it half-ass worked for about 2 miles.
Hold
So
on,
that
my
happened, and
my dog's barking at people. I think we're good. We're back. Life is good.
so I got a hold of Blake Hughes, and he's like, "Dude, run it by the shop." And that's where Cody was over there, uh, did it up, and that's literally the nicest part on that turbo kit. Like, he's busting out the TIG welder, like, making this little saddle for it,
Right.
and I'm like, "Dude, just get out the MIG and hot glue it back together."
And then this one's great because in the background is me, and I'm putting a clutch in the 55 that is Clay's 55, and Bill Armstrong tried to do a burnout with it and did a burnout on the clutch instead of on the tires and blew the clutch up. So we're at
Yep,
Blake's shop putting a clutch in the 2-lane blacktop car
yep.
at the same time.
I think that's actually the exact moment that you and I met.
I believe that's true.
Yeah,
I believe that's
there's
true.
Leonardo on the laptop.
Yep, yep. Pushing the up arrow. Yeah, so I'm in the background of this for sure. And everyone's kind of standing around and doing nothing, and I'm taking the effing clutch out of the car. So
Yeah,
that's
I
it's
I
good.
remember that. That was so great.
Good times. Good times right there. And then he ended up having to do that whole clutch again because he got a externally balanced flywheel and the motor was internally balanced. So he put it all back together and drove it around the block and drove it right back onto that lift and started tearing the transmission back out of it because it was junk.
Yeah. Gah,
Good times.
I totally forgot about the second part of that.
Yep. Yeah, he did it twice. And we didn't know. We left. We were like, "Great, see you later."
Yeah,
And
we
so I
all found
think
out at the
like
track later.
yeah, Blake and Clay did that trans swap again by themselves. And Clay's, I think at this point in his 70s. So
Yeah,
yeah. And you can see the dude in the background and he's watching us.
yeah,
he's
yep,
he's over here. It's good. It's good stuff. It's awesome. Yeah, that's totally where we met. We were both thrashing on our shit.
yeah,
But I was thrashing on other people's shit, but hey, whatever.
yeah. I was watching other people thrash on my shit.
Yeah, exactly. And making like the nicest part that you've got on your entire car. And is that still on it? Or it was when you
Oh yeah,
got rid of the turbo
yeah.
kit?
It's still on it. That turbo kit's sitting on a shelf in the garage right
Hell
now,
yeah. It's awesome.
and it still is the nicest part on that entire turbo kit.
Hell yeah. So then 18 we get done, and then 19 you come back and you do the mountains.
Yep. So we head over to the mountains, and what was cool about this one was it fell on McKenna's birthday.
Oh, perfect.
And so I had talked to Matt. I was like, "Hey, it's my daughter's birthday. Like, do you think we could sing her happy birthday?" And he was 100% hell yes. Like, drag her up here.
Totally.
And somewhere there's a somebody has a video of it. I'm pretty sure Matt's the one that picked her up and put her on the truck, and we all sang her happy birthday.
That's awesome.
She still brings it up all the time. Like, that was like one of her coolest moments.
That's awesome. Hell yeah.
So I
Hell
rode
yeah.
around all week. The back window of the car said happy 7th birthday, McKenna, like all week.
That's awesome. Hell
And like
yes.
me and the dude got to the track before, so it was my mom, my sister, her daughter, my wife, and then my girls.
Mhm.
And they showed up afterwards, and me and the dude decorated our little, pop up at the in the pits. So when she
Okay.
got there, there was pink balloons and streamers everywhere for her birthday.
Carlos says that Joe Thomas and him were there swapping out axle bearings on his wagon that night also.
Yeah, they did that out in the parking lot.
Yep. Joe Thomas had that black Malibu wagon, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
This one here.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yep. So the old JoJo, I've known that dude a long time.
Hell yeah.
He's up from our area.
And that car is is baller fast.
Yeah, it is no slouch, that's for sure.
Hell yeah. But anyway, so yeah, so you come up to the mountain and you're like, what in the fuck are these people doing?
Yeah, I'm like, "Can you guys actually drag race up here? What the hell? This is terrible."
And you twist the knob off of your boost
Oh,
controller.
man, I was so far in, like, I was so piss scared that it was gonna blow. Because I mean, I'm way into it. No idea, what kind of boost it's gonna make, and it didn't. I mean,
Right.
it still
Right.
never hit what I thought it should have.
Yeah, dude, that's we like to say up here, sea level is for sissies.
Yeah. Well, I'll be a big sissy. I'll
No,
go
it's all
play sea
good.
level,
It's all right. I'm moving.
right?
Yeah, I get
But
to see
no,
how the
but
other half lives.
I am super excited to go back to Bandamere, though.
Hell
So,
yeah. You're gonna be on race week?
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
And which this is typically keep this for the end of it, but which car are you bringing?
Black car.
That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. That is awesome. Hell yes. Um anyway, so you get through 18, you get through 19, and we go to 2020. Is
We'll just
19?
we'll just
Wait,
go to 21.
you just want to go to 21 because you didn't do 20. No,
Yeah,
you did.
20 was the
20
motor incident.
20 was your year. Yeah, 20 was your year.
Yeah, 2020. So we all know how 2020 went. And Matt, well, we were actually registered for Drag Week
Okay, yeah,
2020. And, everything fell apart. They canceled it, whatever else. And Matt, you know, came out with that post that said, "Hey, like, if you guys are interested, I'll do this."
totally,
Yeah, like, I want to go racing. So I got a spot. I'm like, all right, let's party, let's go.
totally.
And then,
And this is you here. Bam. 2020. Let's make it happen. And you've got
yep,
the baby Yoda.
yep, that was Mavis's baby Yoda.
I love that her name is Mavis, by the way.
Yeah,
Such a cool
yeah,
name.
she's totally named from Hotel Transylvania.
And there they are. Have fun, Dad. No
Yep,
idea
wishing us off.
that you're about to have the thrash of your life.
Yeah,
But it is Baby Yoda's fault.
yeah, exactly, and that's what I like to say. That baby Yoda fell over on the up arrow.
Yep. And then just, I mean, yeah, walk us through that. Like how's 2020 start? We're rocking. I mean, you got Finn.
Yeah, so 2020, we got down there the night before, and we made a test. We made one pass that night, and it was a solid, 10. I think it went like 10:24 or something that night, 10:30 something. I'm like, all
Yep.
right, like perfect, like we're ready to go. Everything's good. Go through tech, do the whole deal. I'm real upfront on the first set of cars going down. Leaves good, goes down fine. Get to the stripe, and it really didn't make like an audible pop. It was more like I kind of felt it kind of pop.
Okay.
And I'm like, what the hell was that? And I look up and I see the smoke. And so I made the pass. I got the 10-second time and I
Hmm.
knew that. So I was like, okay, shit, let's rush back. I can turn this in. And then we have all night to figure out what's going on.
Totally.
So I get it back to the pits, checking it out. I drove it back. So, I mean, it was at least running, but it wasn't running right. Okay, what do we do? Diagnosed it. We hurt something. I mean, catastrophic failure.
Right.
So we go through the pits and whatever else. I came up to you and I'm like, hey, Adam, I need a motor.
Yep. And I
And
was like, good luck, dude. Like, whatever. There ain't no way. Good luck.
so right before that, right before I came up to the tower, I'm talking to the dude and I'm like, what are we gonna do? You know, the truck and the trailer is literally 100 feet away.
Right.
Like, are we gonna throw in the towel, or are we gonna at least try this? And he's like, if you find a motor, like, let's do it. So I went up. I'm like, all right, let's find one. Well, a little bit later, this guy, said, hey, I got a motor, or my dad has a motor. And I go over there, I start talking to him, like, well, like, where the hell's your dad at? Oh, he's over here. So we got to run all the way back across the pits.
Right.
And literally the first word out of this guy's mouth is, I don't usually sell my LS stuff. I'm like, great. But I started talking to him. His name's Dustin Sullivan. Super awesome guy. Like, still friends with him now over all this.
Totally.
But he's like, yeah, he's like, I got a motor. It's just, a little ways away, whatever. I'm like, cool. Kind of what do you want for it kind of action. And, he throws out a price. We're like, all right, cool. So me and the dude start counting money. And he's like, what the hell are you guys doing? Well, we're going to pay you. He's like, no, man. He's like, come get the motor, check it out first kind of thing. And we're like,
Right.
all right, cool.
Dude, I need it. Like,
yeah. And so we go out there, and there's a it was quite the drive. I was with my buddy Noah, with the wherever my sign is with QPS. And he had his truck on this race week.
Okay.
Luckily, by the grace of God, he had a truck. So we're driving, and it's getting darker and darker and darker as we're going, like no street lights anywhere. And I'm like, dude, I've seen horror movies like this.
Right.
Like, we're gonna die.
Yeah, I've seen how it starts, dude.
And so we turn off to go to this guy's property. You can't see anything out here. And goes over and opens up his shop. Now I won't go into too much detail about his shop, but
Right.
guy's got a lot of stuff. And we're going through there, and he's kind of, I got a motor here, I got a motor there. Kicks over like a card table. He's like, oh shit, I forgot that was back here.
Yeah, nice.
And he's like, well, I got one by the door right here. So he goes, well, which one do you want? Well, I want the one by the door, man. I want to get the hell out of here,
Yeah,
so I can
go.
start, and this is midnight at this point.
Right.
So, other shenanigans involved. Like, we got a forklift stuck in the mud trying to get it out, and about got his truck stuck in the mud and all kinds of stuff. So we get the motor back and start tearing into it, trying to swap everything over. Now, remember when I said I met Troy Clearhout 2017? He was there with Ted Woodman that year.
Right.
Troy says, hey, I'm going to run Ted back. Ted wants to go back to the hotel, whatever. He's like, I'll try to come back. I'm like, all right, man, cool. If you do, you do. If not, we'll catch up. And yeah. 15 minutes later, he's coming back in Ted's car. Ted went to sleep, and he stole Ted's Impala to come back and hang out with us. And so Troy helped us a good part of the way on getting that done.
Hell
so
yeah.
It ended up being the dude, Noah, our buddy Nate, Troy, and myself that swapped that motor that night out there.
Hell yes. I have no pictures of that. I cannot believe I have no pictures of that.
Oh, really?
I've got you hanging out with the 1320 guys.
Yeah, so that was at the very end.
They were kind of documenting that whole thing. I can't believe I have no pictures of that. That's insane.
I don't have them posted up there.
I don't know. They must not be. I don't know. Whatever.
Oh, it's because Scott Whitty took them all.
Right, and they're all in the 1320.
Yeah.
Totally. Yep. That's exactly what happened. But yeah, there's a great series of photos of you guys working under work lights and
all laid out.
Yep. And you had to change. There was something with like you were just going to swap the whole thing, but you had to put the like heads on it or something. There was some problem with the heads.
So I had that sloppy stage 2 cam in there with my springs.
Right.
And I'm like, well, this thing's not going to make any power on a stock cam. So I wanted to swap the cam and the springs out. Okay. When we get the cylinder heads off, where I melted the piston, it had a bunch of aluminum on the bottom of that head.
Okay.
So Troy Clearhout's like, man, he's like, I got an idea. He's like, if you may not like it, but ends up taking a cutoff wheel and lightly scrapes the aluminum off the head as this thing's running.
Okay.
And I'm so busy putting other stuff together, I'm not even watching what he's doing. I'm like, dude, just do it. Like if you're confident enough to do it, do it.
All right, let's go.
And that cylinder head is still on that motor as it was in 2020.
That's awesome. Hell yes. That is freaking great. I'm digging through 1320 video photos to find
From
these
back
because
then.
it's good, worth looking at for sure. I mean, you guys killed it, and I remember the next morning you walked up to the next day, I guess, or whatever. You found me at some point, and you were like, "Dude, we got a motor in it. We're ready to go." And I was like, "There
Well,
ain't no
so
what."
actually, what had happened
What had
with all
happened
that?
was
So we're leaving from Tulsa to go to Heartland Park, Topeka,
okay.
and we left at like 2 in the afternoon or something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to cannonball to Topeka, and we're doing the speed limit. We weren't over, but we were definitely doing the speed limit through there.
Right.
And we get there, and that was when Heartland Park wanted us all to re-tech.
Right. Right.
So I rolled through tech with the trailer still attached and got out and was like, "Come on!"
Yeah, let's go.
And luckily, I'd been at Topeka like 2 weeks before that, and kind of ended up slightly becoming very friendly with the tech guy. Like he's actually a super nice guy. I talked to him, whatever, and he's like, "Oh, dude, you're good. Just keep on going, man." Well, there's this other old tech guy that wanted to
He
kind
wanted to
of
be a
throw a
scruffy
yeah.
shitbag.
And so this other guy like was just mouthing him real hard, like just sit back down, like he's fine. Like I'll sign off on the car. And so we whipped it down through the pits and just started throwing stuff off the trailer and everything. And I flew down. I think I only had like maybe an hour. It wasn't very long, hour and 15 minutes to make the pass. And
Right.
you announced it that I was there.
Right.
And nobody knew it. So after I made the pass and I roll back around, I get back to the pits and I've got like 45 people around the car. And they're like, "Oh shit, you made it." I'm like, "Yeah, like I ain't gonna quit."
Right. Yeah, exactly. I can't find them in this either. There's so many photos, but I promise the pictures are good. Find them. It's so super good from 2020 2.0. Go check that out. It worth checking out for sure. Yeah, I can't find them at all. I found one of me with a terrible haircut. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
With the briefcase. Don't ask what's in the briefcase.
So that was at Tulsa. You got to be close.
Yeah, it's got to be right there. But yeah, I don't know. I can't find it. It must be in like in a special something or another. There's the cool International Scout. That thing was awesome. Yeah, nothing. I got nothing. Sucks. Blasphemy's in there.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, no, nothing. I got nothing of you in this. It must be in a different deal. But yeah, like
Yeah.
there's blasphemy. But yeah, dude. So you do race week, you get done with it, and you actually finished, and it took you. It was you had a post on it, and I lost it now, but it was like 2 motors, 700 cooling fans, whatever,
Uh,
whatever, whatever, and it was this.
we had this year kicked our ass. This has been the hardest one that I've done. After we left Topeka, I hadn't slept at this point from tech day when we teched in and we raced until after we got done at Topeka.
Right?
And so a buddy of ours, John Cundy, put us up for the night at his place, actually got to sleep.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
then we're headed back to Thunder Valley. Yeah, we went Oklahoma, Kansas.
Correct.
So as we're rolling down the Kansas Turnpike, I'm pretty sure we're on the Turnpike. Either way, we're rolling down the deal, and the cooling fan just quits, and the car's getting hot.
Right.
So we're literally taking ice and stuff out of the cooler to set on the radiator to try to cool it down, and we'd just like limp a little bit farther each time. When we go to O'Reilly's and buy, the biggest cooling fan they had,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the biggest piece of shit ever. It wouldn't cool anything. So then we're still trying to we take the do the roadkill hood mod where we take the hood off,
Right.
and then when let's see after see all that happened, then we run at Oklahoma, and I actually made a decent pass. Somewhere there's a crazy wheelie picture of my car.
Okay.
I was trying to think who. I think Matt took that for Bronk took that.
Yeah.
But so we end up doing that. And we're driving, and we're going to Great Bend after that.
Right.
Well, somewhere through the middle of the night, we're driving, and my car just decides it wants to shut off it when I pull up to a stop. It
Okay.
just
Yeah.
dies, and then it won't idle, won't do anything. So I'm like 2-footing it through all these towns and everything. Like it would drive fine if you were under a load. It was totally fine. You could cruise, no problem whatsoever. But load decel stuff, it would die.
Hmm.
So like, okay, whatever. We're just gonna keep rolling.
And it's still on Mega Squirt.
Yeah, no. At this time, it had a Terminator in it.
Okay.
Now
All right.
it's got the Terminator X in it. And so we get to Great Bend, and I'm dead tired. I think I've only slept for like 6 hours total at this point.
Right.
Talking to anybody that knows anything about EFI stuff. I had Travis Martin over there, Quentin, the LSS truck.
Totally.
Cody Hoffman was over there. Aaron Schaefer loaned me a map sensor. Like everybody's looking at it, and nobody can figure out what the hell's going on with it. So I ended up taking the 1 bar internal map sensor just so I could drive the car.
Okay.
But you can't run those under boost.
Right.
The boost level I was at. So I had to take the, whatever pass. I think I ran like a 17 or something. And then we went back to the hotel and I slept. But then from Great Bend back to Tulsa, it's still getting hot. It's overheating. We have to stop all the time because of it. And we're at one of the checkpoints and we just run into 2 local guys. And I said, hey, like, where's a junkyard around here? Kind of thing. And he's like, oh, dude, he's like, I have these fans, I'll bring them out to the track. Or
Okay.
this was at Great Bend. So this was at Great Bend when they did that. And so we took the fans, like super cool guys. Yeah. And we threw them in the trailer at the time. Well, then at some point, coming back to Tulsa after the Great Bend fiasco, we rigged that setup up, and it still got hot for sure, but we could run farther before we had to pull over.
Right.
And I mean, you can see how haphazardly it's white, like the toggle switch over there on the driver's
Oh
fender,
yeah.
and it was
No,
zip
it's
tied.
good. It's pretty.
No,
It's
it was,
awesome. It's taped in. It's zip tied in. It's got all sorts of cardboard to keep the air moving in the right direction. It's good.
yeah, mint.
It's mint.
But so that worked. It got us there. The last like 10 minutes of the drive into the track, though, I want to say that thing got up to like 270
Ooh,
coming
wow.
in.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we parked it and let it sit for quite a while, and then made my final pass, and I finished 2020.
Totally. And you won the Perseverance Award.
Yep.
Bang. There you are. Taking home
Yeah.
hardware.
I was very surprised about getting that.
Totally.
It's actually, you can kind of see part of it, but it's right back here somewhere on the wall.
Yep. I think I see it over there. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then that kind of pushes us a little bit into, I mean, you've done a bunch of the other stuff, but but you do a Perseverance Award now for Race Week, as well as Rookie of the Year trophy as well. And first off, dude, thanks for getting involved in that Rookie of the Year deal. It's a very cool deal. It's something I do on my own. It's like a weird little side gig, but you were like, I want to get involved in this, and I would love to build you a trophy for it. And you've done it every year,
Yeah.
and for twice a year. And
Yeah.
you have you missed? Have you been at every single award ceremony? You may have missed one, I think.
So the first year that we teamed up and did that, I was at day 1 and dropped off the award.
Right. Okay. Yep.
But then after that, I've tried to show up and be at the awards, and then hang out.
Totally. Totally. And that first one has got to be the most memorable one that you got to actually hand out, and that was when Danny Diesel won.
So Danny won. I think Danny has the second one.
Does he have the? He's got the second one, but the first one that you were there for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And
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 that
that
one,
that one's got it. Like I said, that's got to be the most memorable for you, in my opinion, because it was the first one you kind of saw happen, and then you and Danny ended up being really good friends out of the thing, and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
this picture with me going woo, and that's
yeah,
the background for this. But I mean, he went through it, and you said, I think this makes a ton of sense. I really really like that he's going to win the award, and he lost it, man. He started crying and was like,
yeah,
and he appreciated that thing more than I think anyone in the world could have. Um, so that's a super cool deal. And like I said, like you guys are still buddies.
yeah. So with that, day 1, the night before we started that race, I met Danny randomly at the hotel parking lot.
Hmm.
We seen the diesel truck sitting over there, and we were looking at it and like, man, this thing's fucking cool. And he come over, started talking to us,
Yep.
and he's like, man, I'm just out here having fun, and kind of touched on some of this and some of that. And I'm like, man, like that's really cool. Like that is just
Yeah, you're
neat.
doing some different stuff here.
Yeah, and then being a diesel truck, is cut up and race truck as it is, really, I was like, oh man, that thing, I'm gonna watch that. And then by the end of the week, he ended up winning it.
Right.
And uh, I don't pick. I have nothing to do with picking of the rookie,
Right.
and I'm totally fine with that. But when you told me that's who we kind of were going with, I'm like, oh, like that's
That's
awesome.
great.
Like, what a more fitting person.
Right. Right. Exactly. And I let the rookie pick the next rookie. So
Yeah,
whoever won the last year picks this year. And yeah, and they, whoever I can't remember exactly. I can't remember who won that first one. Um, which sucks. But
yeah,
he said, "This is the dude. Like that's the guy that needs to be the winner of that." And everyone 100% says that it is 100% like the right pick for that first one for you to actually like give to the guy.
yeah.
Um, it's super cool.
That was,
And
yeah,
like Narc says, he said later he was anxious to hang out in the parking lot, so he almost didn't do it.
yeah, yeah. He's told me that story a couple times too. And well, so funny story about Danny and that trophy. And he's told me numerous times that he keeps that, wherever, right by wherever he's sleeping. He always has that thing around him. And when we all went to sick week that first year, we ended up meeting him down Tennessee, and we kind of rode in together.
Hmm.
And we had radios, we were kind of talking and BSing back and forth, and he was talking about it and said something. And so we stopped in the middle of like traffic. There's like a big, traffic jam or whatever.
Yeah.
He gets out of the truck, runs into the trailer, grabs a trophy, and runs back. Just so it like, he's like, yeah, dude, like I have it,
Like here
kind
it
of
is.
thing.
Check it out. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was just so fun. I think I have it on video somewhere. I think it's in one of the QPS videos, but
That's freaking awesome. That's freaking awesome, man. But no, that was super cool. And like I said, like you guys are now, I mean, buddies, and you've got that thing. And he, like, I'm gonna have him on at some point for sure. But
yeah,
like, he was the most gracious dude when he got that award, and he didn't think he was gonna get that ever. And on top of that, I think we had, I can't remember what it was at the time, but It was over $1,000 he ended up getting, and he like needed it bad
Yeah.
at the time. So it was super cool to be able to get him that, and um, you know, really be able to see that and watch it go down.
Yeah.
That man, that was so cool.
I
That
mean,
was
I
so
teared
cool.
up too when he started tearing up and whatever. I was right there. I'm like, you know.
Yeah, dude. But from me, like, thank you so much for getting involved with that. It's so cool because it's neat handing somebody some money, but your money goes like this. The stuff you keep around with you, and again, like that story where he goes into his trailer and picks up that trophy that you built for him. That's that stuff that sticks with you. So yeah,
And
he's long spent that money, but it's so cool to have that
the
tangible thing
hardware.
to give to dudes
Yeah.
and chicks.
Yeah. And that's that's why I do it. Um, when you started doing that deal, it was super awesome for the money. And I was like, man, like how cool is it to get an award, that somebody made? All
Yep.
the other like I mean, I love the cut award that I have, or
Right.
the trophy like that. Those things are super awesome. It's cool. But an
Right.
award like, rookie of the year, or the perseverance type thing, getting like a handmade award like really solidifies that, you know, the winning part of it, that you got that award.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
I love handmade trophies. I do, and that's why I build them. Is I want that person to know, hey man, like I really appreciate you being the rookie and coming into this, crazy new family. Here's something that I spent some time and sweat on. I want you to have this kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And like since you have to so occasionally at the first bit you had to shake me and don't forget about me, man. What the hell? But I've had you up for every single one of them and you've gotten me
Yeah,
to give that trophy out ever since then. I think you've been at every one since you gave out Danny Diesel's.
yeah,
And
yeah. That's the thing we try to do now, is make sure we're at the last day.
totally. And like Ed Hohenberg says, it's built not bought. Like and that works for everything.
Yeah,
Because yeah, you can tell like dude's got his blood, sweat, and tears in that, and like I said, it's a very
yeah,
cool deal to be able to add to that award for these people. And like I said, from me to you, dude, thank you so much for
yeah,
that. It's a very cool addition to the award, and it's been cool to have you with me to give that out twice every single year.
yeah. And thank you for letting me do that.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, when you reached
That's
out, I
all.
was like, "Hell yeah, dude!" Like, I mean, if you want to do a trophy, hell yes, let's do it. I do need to. Do need to ask you about a slow Donovan trophy. So I'm gonna have Donovan Linwood and Donovan Leader grudge race each other when they're both out of whatever heads up deal they're doing, and then we need to make a slow Donovan trophy. So whoever loses gets the trophy.
Perfect. I love it.
It's going to be awesome. And they're going to run quarter mile, and Donovan Linwood runs eighth mile typically. So leader's got a little bit on him, but Linwood makes more power, so it kind of evens it out. And Linwood's got to run on his little tires.
Oh, that's going to be a fun race.
It's going to be a hell of a fun race. So yeah, I need to get a slow Donovan award built
Yeah,
up.
I'll
So
have to.
I'll talk to you about that. Maybe we might have a little bit of fun with that one.
Yeah, for sure.
I have to ask, and I know we're all over the place here, but why in the hell did you decide to start wearing red hats and call yourself Red Hat Scotty?
So this actually started with that one,
Okay.
my Nebraska hat. That was given to me in the 6th grade, by my best friend at the time, my buddy Jay. His parents and grandparents are alumni of Nebraska, and so he brought that back the summer, right before we started 6th grade. When we went to 6th grade, he brought that back to me, and I mean, I wore the crap out. I mean, that hat, it's not even really red anymore.
Right. Right. It's kind of like fuchsia.
It's all faded, and it probably stands up on its own kind of thing.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And so I wore it every day. Like, it was super cool. Your best friend gives you a hat, and so I wore it.
Right.
And then, kind of after that one lived its life, I wore it religiously for like 2 years probably. I got a teal Charlotte Hornets hat,
Okay.
and we'd be out doing stuff, and hey, where's Scotty at? And well, this is before people actually started calling me Scotty. Where's Scott at? I'm like, I'm right here. They're like, dude, where's your red hat? And I'm like, oh, I've got a new one. They're like, no, you need a red hat.
Yeah, that hat ain't you, man.
And so that's really what started it. It's just simple as that.
Hell yeah.
And then, later, my mom actually hates that people call me Scotty or that I call myself Scotty. She never really cared for it. My real good buddy Tim is the one that started that. And then, we'd go out, whatever, there'd be like Scott or, whatever. And he's like, oh man, that's Scotty, Scotty with the red hat. And then it just became
Red Hat
Red
Scotty.
Hat Scotty.
Totally. And I didn't know your name. No one knows your name. And no one these days. But your tech card came up and it said Scott Caddell. Am I saying it right? Caddell?
Caudell.
Caddell. Okay.
Caudell, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so it's Scott Caddell and he's got a red Mustang. And that's kind of cool. And I was like, wait a second. That's Red Hat Scotty. Like, holy shit. Like, I know his last name now. This is great.
Yeah.
And at the time, like all your Facebook stuff, you were Red Hat. So yeah, I was like, all right, well, that's Red Hat Scotty. And it got me the first couple of times. I, glance at the screen, like, yeah, that's Scott. And he's got a fox. Wait a second. It's Red Hat. And ever since then, now, as soon as I see it, it's Red Hat. It's great.
Yeah.
And it's what's nice is now I know the car, I know you. I don't even need to look at the screen. I'm just like, hey, there's Red Hat. It's awesome.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. It's super cool. But that's awesome. That's very cool. Danny Fatco wants to know where's the dude.
He is at his house watching this right now.
Probably he's one of our dozens and dozens of viewers.
Yep.
Hell
So
yeah.
him and my mom crack are over there at their place watching it.
Heck yeah! And I met your mom this last year, and she's
Yep.
so sweet. She's like the coolest person ever.
Yeah. She made sure for me to come over and introduce you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Here she is right here. Bang.
Yep.
Super awesome, man. So awesome.
That was fun. That was from Coder. That was the first time I had my mom on a drag and drive,
Oh,
like in
was
the
she
car.
was she your co-pilot for like the thing?
So this was at the last Coder that happened back in May, and my mom and dad were the only ones that came down with me this time.
Okay.
The dude had his knee surgery, so trying to watch him and him being comfortable in the car and everything else. And at one point, they ended up swapping out, and she rode with me for like the last part of the leg on the way back
Okay.
at Coder.
Yeah, Stevie, your mom is so sweet. Really is. And that's
She is.
Eric Carroll. Hey Eric, how you doing?
Hey,
Thanks for
what's
tuning
up,
in,
guy?
man. Appreciate you. And Danny wants to know, has your mom ever driven your car anywhere?
Yes. So she drove the black car one time. Back. Oh man, that's been a while. I can't remember exactly when it was. I was working at Napa, so I was probably 20,
Okay.
and at that time it had a stick shift in it. It was a 306, and it had the blower on it.
Okay.
There was this cop that would always screw with me every time I was coming home. He'd pull me over for the dumbest shit. And, I was talking to my mom about it, and she was like, I'll get in the car, I'll drive it. Let's see if he pulls me over. And so we left, and he kind of like rolled up, and then the window was down, and dude looks over and sees her and keeps on driving.
That's freaking awesome. Danny says his mom drove his 442 once. Never again.
Yeah, she probably wouldn't want to drive it now, but yeah, she
Right.
she drove it back then.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. No, it was super cool meeting her. She was, and obviously I met the dude a handful of times. You gave us a ride back from the hotel when we were super shit faced at, I think
Allegedly.
20, allegedly at I think 22,
Yeah.
I believe, and we rode in that cream puff Fairmont of
Yep.
his, which
Yeah. Which
that's got like a 260 V8 or something like that.
yeah, it's got the 255 V8.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Freaking wild, man.
And so my mom nicknamed that car Grandpa Buick.
And that's this one here.
Yep.
There it is right
Yep.
there. And yeah, 255 V8 and it's like a cream puff. I mean, it's four-door. It's pretty sweet. And I rode in the back of it.
Yep.
Not fast, but
No.
it's cool. I mean, it's super cool. So drink like you just
Hey.
did.
Yeah. No, that car is super cool. It's lower. It's like a 60, I think 65,000 original model car.
Hell yeah. When are you going to cut it up?
Here pretty soon.
Oh, perfect. Attaboy. That's what I'm
So
talking about.
that that 398 Windsor I have is what we're gonna put in it.
Oh, sweet. That'll be a cool motor for that. NA?
Yeah, we're just gonna set it up in a. I've got a Terminator X, small block Ford for it. I think we're gonna try to do like a 4R70W for the overdrive
That'll
in
be
it,
cool. That'll be cool. Hell yeah.
and then I mean, if it runs, low 13s or whatever, it's
Who
perfectly fine
cares?
for him.
Yeah, who
He just
cares?
wants something to rumble and roll down the road.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Let's talk real quick because we're at hour 42 minutes. This stuff goes quick. I'm telling you, it's wild. You like get into the groove and it's awesome. And but talk about QPS, dude. Talk to us about questionable performance solutions, what you got going on with that, and um, you know, regale us with what your YouTube like famousness is coming up to be here.
Yeah, so questionable performance solutions is just basically me, the dude, and whoever else is around just screw around with cars, just trying to find, the different way of thinking to get stuff done. Not so much like the sloppy mechanics kind of thing, and I really like those guys, but we try to do stuff outside the box, taking different parts and making them work for different things
Okay.
in a
Yeah.
different manner. And I've kind of always been this way. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to start filming this stuff. Just the
Totally.
little random nonsense that me and the dude get into, me and Noah get into. And it's slowly taken off. We started hard and heavy with it last year. And then, life kind of happened with Noah. He started doing some adult stuff, bought a house, and um, started going back to school, got a different job. So he's still with us, but he's a little bit more behind the scenes.
Totally.
He kind of got a little bit behind on editing, so I've recently taken that over. So we'll be having more videos come out just as soon as I can get them out.
Yeah, and you've got like the more legit audio stuff. You got a microphone. You showed me that, and obviously, if you're watching now, like he sounds awesome because he's got all the nice stuff too. So yeah, I mean, you're kind of investing back into the channel itself, which is I know I get it, dude. It's a tough thing to do, especially if it's making you nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had to upgrade some things. I still need to upgrade the GoPro thing is nice, but it's a pain in the ass.
Yep.
They eat batteries, and ended up they had a SD card crash and lost some footage and random stuff like that. But I'm trying to put more into it and do a little bit better job on certain things. And it's just comes with time and getting into it.
And that's totally it. Like we were talking about behind the stage, before. Um, I do this now because I hate editing. I hate it, and like you need to have a decent enough computer to do it, and mine's not. And you need to have time to run through that and actually make it good. And even if it's just cutting it down to where it's exciting stuff, or at least, informative stuff the entire way, you spend twice as much time going through your raw data, cutting it down to nothing. And your raw data may be 3 hours. And so now that you have 9 hours into a 30-minute video. And
Yeah.
it's a long thing. It's a big process. And like, full disclosure, I don't do that now. I do this because I don't have to edit it. Like,
Yeah.
I press end broadcast and I close this and I go to bed and I'm done. And like, hopefully it turns into a thing. And if it doesn't, I'm still having fun with it and it's super fun. But yeah, as you're finding out, like, editing is a very, very like involved thing.
Yeah. It was a really big learning curve. I bought a new laptop just dedicated for the editing and then things like this. Like, I have nothing else on it. I don't want to put anything on it, and that's all I've done. And I learned basically self-taught, kind of get on YouTube and look and see like if I've got a question about how to do something. But for the most part, I just hopped in and went for it.
Right. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong. I mean, it's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. It's awesome, and you're just figuring it out. And I mean, look at any of these guys, like, Cletus's early videos, and Vice Grip Garage's early stuff. You can tell that they get better at it as they go, and
Yeah.
that's going to be the case for you. I'm sure. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. And honestly, like with this, I don't ever really take myself too serious, like in general.
No, you don't say.
And so, like, really for me, I'm just having fun with it, and it's nice I can go back at some of these old videos and see, like, what we did, or me and the dude hanging out doing stuff. So, like,
It's a theme,
yeah, I you know I don't take myself serious at all.
right? Life's too
I just
short.
like it. Yeah, exactly. It really is. I just want to go out and have fun with my friends, and just, yeah, exactly, right there. No,
And
Noah made that.
right,
It was
and just
hilarious.
just do it and have fun, and record it along the way, and if it turns into something, great, and if not, you've got it out there because you can always go back and, imagine showing your kids in 30 years. Like,
Yeah.
here's me as an idiot, you know, 30-year-old, 35-year-old doing stupid shit. Like, look, I'm a moron too. Like, you can be a moron. Here's me documenting my moronness.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah.
And
So
you know,
go ahead.
with the well, I was gonna say with the questionable performance solution thing too is I try to put stuff out, and really, like, I'm a huge advocate of, like, the budget baller stuff.
Totally.
Like, I want people to know that you can slam something together just to go have fun.
Yeah, dude.
You
Yeah.
know,
And it doesn't
buy
need
the
to be the
cheap.
fastest or the nicest or the
No,
coolest welds or whatever, dude. Just and it really goes back to I bring a lot of roadkill into this because that was kind of my first, but like,
yeah,
don't get it right, just get it running.
yep, that's one of my favorite quotes.
Totally. And just because if you want to get it right, you're never going to have it. It's never going to be perfect. You're never going to be done. But if you
Yeah,
get it and it's running and you're having fun with it, it's going to motivate you to do more with it.
exactly. And I've got a ton of friends that are building stuff currently that have taken way longer than it needed to, because they wanted that nice stuff. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with having nice things,
Yeah.
but put the nice thing over here and buy some pile of junk and come out and play.
Well,
You
and not
know,
everyone's got the money to have nice things. It just
well, yeah,
is what it is. I mean, a lot of people have some, a little bit. You might have a little, a couple of nickels to scrape together to build, a semi quick Fox body, and that's what more people are going to do than build a Pro Mod.
yeah, exactly. Or think about trying to build a rowdy radio car right now.
Oh, dude, I mean, you got to run a 490
Yeah,
to be anybody, and that's, I mean, come on, dude, that's for a regular guy. That's not an attainable goal. I mean,
yeah,
those dudes are they're wicked, and they got a lot of cool shit in their stuff, but you're probably not going to show up to that with a sloppy mechanics 6 liter, and I mean, you're going to go 750. That's just
yeah,
what that car runs. I'm sorry, dude. And you're bringing a knife to a gunfight,
yeah,
but
yeah.
at the same
Butter knife.
time, a 750, cobbled together quick garage car is a fun freaking street car.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is you could get a car to go in the 11, like low 11s
That's
cheap.
fast, dude, and that's fast. I mean,
Yeah.
especially when you talk about where you started, like a 5-liter Mustang, dude. I mean, that stuff ran 15s.
Yeah. No, the first time I went 14.99, I thought it was John Force.
Right, dude. Exactly. And then all of a sudden, a couple of twists and turns, and you're going 11 flat.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn impressive. Bring a bike, you've always got a chance. That's Pat, who's got the
Yeah.
Grom. Pat is one of my normal viewers, man, and I'm gonna have
Yeah.
Pat on one day too.
Oh, you
You
got to.
bet your ass. And yeah, Nico went 1150s for $3,500, including the $500 car with the tree growing
Yep.
in it.
And I've done that in the past. I went like 1070, 1080 for $4,500.
Right, dude. I mean, back in the day, $4,500, you'd have a 1390 car,
Yeah.
and then you throw it on this altitude, and it's a 1490 car. I've lived this life, dude. This is my whole life. Is I do a 4,500 1490 car, and people are like, "Dude, it only runs 1490." I'm like, "Bring it to the mountain, bitch."
Yeah. Yeah. Now your car runs 14s.
Right, exactly. Hey, check it out.
Yeah, not so cool now.
Yeah, 70% throttle sucks ass, doesn't it? Um, so I dude, we're like almost at 2 hours, and this has
Yeah.
been super fun. But I need to jump into my questions. I need our viewers to jump into their questions. So if you guys want to jump on here and ask Red Hat anything, we got Big Walt on. What's up, Big Walt? He is a good dude.
Yep.
You're damn right. You're damn right. But put up some questions up here. We're gonna get those answered, and I'm gonna get through mine. Like again, my canned questions. If you're first time here, these are questions I ask pretty much everybody, and I modified them a little bit, especially after Joe Barry interviewed me, and I got some good information from Joe. So Joe's the man. Thank you, Joe. But I'm gonna start us off, and I'm gonna wait for some people to jump in here. But um, what is the largest thrash that you've been a part of?
Motor,
It's got to be that
swap at
motor.
Tulsa. Yeah. That and when I put the NA Nightmare car together, I built that car in like 60 days
Wow.
to come
Wow.
out and do race week.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Um, Tell me about the one that got away. What car did you sell that you shouldn't have?
That's a hard question for a guy that's owned a car for 21 years.
Right?
I don't know. Like I wrecked my 93 Mustang. That was a super nice car. But honestly, I really don't sell a lot of stuff. I usually wreck it and then get rid of it.
That seems to be like a theme on this show. It
But
really is.
like
Like dudes don't get rid of stuff; they wreck them, or that's pretty much it. They're done.
so like the Rickety Rocket I've had since 2014. Obviously the black car I've had like 21 years. I've got a 1950 F1 pickup in the garage that I've had longer than the black car.
Okay.
I've got my Rambler American sitting in the garage that I've
What
owned since
what year's that?
65.
Nice, dude. Hell yeah.
Two-door hardtop.
2-door hardtop, dude. Yeah. Oh! I almost kicked my computer off here. There we go. That's fun. Stevie
So
just sold her Rambler. She had a Rambler Classic,
yeah.
64, but the American's cooler, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like a weird combination of a Nova and a Falcon.
Right, right. And the Classic was more like an early Chevelle.
Yeah,
Yeah, super awesome.
that'd be a good comparison.
Stevie's in. Oh, Rambler
Yeah,
American. Yo, yeah, she loves those shits. It's a
yeah.
jam.
There is a picture of it on my Facebook, but it's way buried in there. It's like 2014.
Oh shit. I'll see if I can find it. While you're talking to us about, oh, and yeah, Stevie says Americans are greater than classics. That's true. Stevie's old car, her old '64 classic 4-door inline six car is for sale again. The guy across the street has it for sale. So if
Oh,
you guys
really?
know anyone that wants one, I can get you one. Anyway, money's no object. Which drag and drive car are you bringing home?
Clint Sadowski's Camaro.
Dude, so good. So good. Yeah.
So that's actually funny too. So I wanted a '69 Camaro forever. I still do. I can't afford one, but that
Right. Right.
is my dream car. And then what year's Clint's though? Clint's is
I think
it
it's an
says a
eight.
60 68.
I
Which
think
I
it's an
mean,
eight.
I would not be picky, but that is money no object. That's the car I want is Clint's Camaro. Which
Hell yeah.
actually, I gotta reach over here. I don't know how well you can.
Oh, dude. Hell yeah. Is that a legit Big Daddy? It is.
Yep.
Dude, that is so cool.
So I met him in 1994, Springfield, Missouri, at the Street Rod show down there. Uh,
Hell yes.
I was 10 years old. I paid him 50 cents to draw me that drawing.
Nice, dude. Hell yes. That is freaking awesome. I like that a lot. I think that's cool as hell. I for my dozens of viewers and you, I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. I am gonna get for the next Clint Sadowski like appearance, and I believe it's gonna be race week. I'm gonna buy Clint Sadowski baseball cards, and I'm gonna have him sign them, and I'm gonna give those
Yes,
out at the award ceremony.
that is awesome.
So if you, depending on how many I get, if you at least win your class, you're going to get a signed Clint Sadowski baseball card.
Oh,
And
I
if
gotta
I can
try so
find
much harder.
more, it's going to be as many people as I can pay down the line. But they're on eBay; they're pretty affordable. And he was like, "I'm in. I'll totally sign 100 cards. If you buy
Oh,
100
that'd be
cards, I'll sign 100 cards."
so great.
Yep. So I'm working on that on the back end of 2.0, and with everything else I've got going on, I'm also searching for Clint Sadowski baseball cards on eBay. So just so you know, you heard it here first on That School Drink. What is your favorite racetrack that's currently built? Because I know which one's your favorite that's going to be built, but which one's your
Uh,
favorite that's currently built?
oh, I don't know. So now that I've raced on or that I've been to,
Your call.
Beach Bend.
Hell yeah.
I haven't raced there, but we went to one of the NMRA races, and I just like that whole setup.
Nice. I've never been. I'm honestly not very familiar with Beach Bend. What
Yeah,
about it?
just it's covered stands.
Oh, dude.
And I mean, yeah, there's poles, but you can still see all the action. And then the way that like the pits and everything's laid out, like it's real open and you can get to, anything real easily.
Nice. Nice. I like that. What's your favorite one that you've raced on?
Uh, I don't know if I could actually answer that. That's why I tried to play it the other way.
Right, right,
I mean, I really like Bandamere, just the whole atmosphere
right.
of that track. Great Lakes Dragaway, kind of the same. Like it really reminds me of the track that we used to have here.
Okay.
And then,
KCIR.
yeah,
Yep.
and then Thunder Valley in Oklahoma
Love
is
that
one of
track.
my because it's really kind of really reminiscent of KCR too. And then we always run really good when we're there.
Nice. Hell yeah. I've got a couple extras. So, guys, if you have anything else to ask Red Hat, throw them in the comments here. But otherwise, I'm going to run through mine and we'll call it a day. But Red Hat, trailer or no trailer?
Trailer.
Trailer. Hell yeah.
we've done it both ways, but the trailer is ultimately the best choice.
It's so nice because you can just pack it heavy. You can take it off, and you're done.
Yep.
You're ready to race relatively.
Yeah. Versus yard sailing everything, and it takes an hour to unload your car just so you can try to make it to the lanes.
Yeah, an hour to reload it when you're done. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it never goes back together like it should.
Yep.
You're
Especially
like,
if you
where the
had problems and you started using some of that stuff, it's all you throw it back in and it's a mess the rest of the week.
like I tried taking pictures when I had all the stuff in the back seat and then the little like luggage rack, and I could still never get it to go back to how it originally was.
Totally. Totally.
It's a mess.
Um, what? And I'm on my last one because we've already asked my last question, and that's when you're going to be out next, and it's going to be race week with the black car. So my last question, and if you got another one, throw it in the comments. But my last one: what is your advice for a newbie?
Just show up, put something together, and come out.
Hell yeah!
Don't. And so it's. I've heard people go back and forth on this, and I am. Don't show up to win. Show up to have fun. Come out, meet new people, go to new places, enjoy the scenery and the checkpoints and all that stuff. Like winning's cool, don't get me wrong. I don't really do it very often, but I'm fine with that. I don't care if I'm, go out first round at the shootout. I want to
Right,
go hang out with, in the parking lots with people. I want to look at cars. I just want to hang out with my friends and have a good time for a week.
right, dude. And like Joe Barry might show up. I mean, Larry Larson might show up. Jonathan Stonecipher might. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows who you might get to hang out with that you might be instant friends with for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And you make friends. Like there's tons of people that I met from doing this that I talk to every day.
Totally, totally. It looks like we have one from the peanut gallery, and it's Nico, and he wants to know how fast that black car is going to be.
I don't know. I'm in the process of trying to get my NHRA license.
Yeah, you made passes on race week or Rocky Mountain Race Week with the car, right? And
Yeah.
and we got you a couple of passes for your license.
So I got 3 passes done there, and then just this past weekend, we took it down to Mid America Dragway
Love it.
in Arkansas City, Kansas. Yeah, and that did not go over too well. But we didn't lose. I never lose. I
Right,
learn.
right.
And so I was unable to complete the rest of my passes for the license. Yeah, I kicked the serpentine belt off of it, and the Trek never found it.
That happens. Nico's calling you out,
Yeah,
says Stony.
but I I would really like to try to do like a 999 in the mountains.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Whether or not that happens to be seen, but you know, we'll see.
We will see.
Down the hill over here, I want to try, to go like 950s,
Okay.
960s with it,
Yeah.
because that's actually the motor out of the Ricky Rocket from Race Week 2020.
Oh, cool. Nice. That 5.3.
So, yep, I
Alan just
wanted.
wants to make it to Pueblo.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Nice. So that's that same motor you bought out of that guy's garage that was by the front door.
Yep.
That's what I'm
I
talking about.
I owe that motor that 999 pass. So
Attaboy.
as soon as we
Attaboy.
do it, then I'll probably tear it apart and put another motor in it after race week.
But you owe it to it. So hopefully it
Yeah,
does it. I dig it.
yeah.
I think it's awesome. Dude, Red Hat, we're over 2 hours. We're going to call it, man. This is going to be awesome. But, dude, thank you so much for joining me on my 20th episode of That's Cool Drink. Thanks for rapping with us for 2 hours. And we have so much more we could do. I mean, we could probably go another
Oh
hour
yeah,
easy. I mean, easy. And it's just, it just time clicks by like crazy when we do this stuff because it's so much fun. But,
yeah,
dude, thank you
dude.
again for
Oh man,
coming on this.
dude. Thank you for having me on, man. It was a blast. so much stuff that we went over, and reminiscing on all that old stuff was so much fun.
Totally. Totally. And that's the point here, man. It's cool because we get to, we get to see each other in snippets along these things, but we don't really get to sit down for a couple hours and really get to know who you are and where you came from and really reminisce on all that stuff. And it's super fun. And I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Totally, totally. Thanks so much, Ed Hohenberg. Again, I'm gonna have you on soon, dude. But you've been tuning in a bunch, and Alan Murray, I had him on. He's tuning in a bunch. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, be sure to share this stuff to folks because we're having a really, really good time with this. And um, again, Red Hat, dude, 20th episode. Thank you so much for being on. I have a really, really good surprise for next week. I'm not going to call it just yet because I haven't really nailed it down. But I got some first year guys coming back, and we
Sweet.
haven't seen him since the first year, and he was in the import class. If that throws anything for you, but giddy up indeed, Big Walt. You're right. But that said, guys, thank you so much, Scotty. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being on. And that said, we are done.